So this screencast is on Chapter 2, Customary Units of Measurement, Written Practice Problems. So again, these 3 practice problems, it's what's going to prepare you to check for understanding on everything in Chapter 1 and 2, and then it will help you prepare for the dual credit final exam that we will take at the end of the semester. So you can use your class notes, the step-by-step examples, your equivalents, etc., to answer these questions. If you are confused, just follow along with the information, or you can use the screencast just to check for answers. It's totally up to you how you want to use this. So let's get started with our first question. So you have 12 tablespoons of flour. What percent of a cup do you have? So in this case, you need to first determine how many tablespoons are in a cup, because that's how you're figuring out the percent of a cup. So to calculate the percent of a cup, you need to divide the number of tablespoons by the total number of tablespoons in a cup. So you have 12 total tablespoons of flour, and the equivalent or conversion factor is there are 16 tablespoons in a total cup, okay? So you can see right here in part 1, percent of a cup equals 12 divided by 16 times 100, because you're going to put it into a percentage. That's why we always do times 100 at the end. So you do 12 divided by 16, and you get the decimal 0.75. Okay, so you can see that in step 2, multiplied by 100, and then you see part 3 is 75%. So the answer is there 12 tablespoons of flour is equivalent. You have 75% of a cup. All right. So to answer this, you really just needed to know how to calculate a percentage, and then you needed to know the equivalent of how many tablespoons were in a cup. All right. If you have questions, ask your teacher, reference the steps. Question number 2, you have 1 pint of water. What percent of a quart do you have? So in this situation, you need to know how many pints go in a quart. If you reference the G chart, you will recall that there are 2 P's, 2 pints, and 1 Q. So that is the equivalent you need to move forward. So you divide 1 pint, because there are 2 pints in a quart, 1 pint divided by 2 pints, and always, because we're finding a percent, times 100. So that gives us the decimal. In part 2, you can see 0.5 times 100. And then part 3, after the calculation, you have 50%. So the answer is 1 pint of water. You have 50% of a quart. Again, reference the equivalent, reference the steps, reference how to do percentages. And then the last problem is referencing the difference between volume and weight. So what is the difference between a fluid ounce and an ounce? So a fluid ounce is a volume measurement, while an ounce is a weight measurement. If you recall, volume is the amount of space that an ingredient takes up, and when you reference weight, it's the mass or heaviness of an object. When a fluid ounce measure contains liquid with the same density as water, they are equal. However, with that being said, most things have different densities. So water, fluid ounce of water, weighs 8 ounces exactly. Easy. But most other things have different densities. They have different heaviness. So for example, 8 fluid ounces of honey weighs, you can do fluid ounces, it's 8 ounces, but when you weigh it, it's 12 ounces because it's heavier than water. So you want to make sure you're using the correct measuring tools and following the correct units. Again, if you have any questions, make sure to reference the information or ask your teacher.